Hi, I'm Mars from StrataGames, and today we are playing the Pauper Challenge, and I'm taking Esper Cryo Affinity. I've been working on this list for a while, and it looks pretty similar to what I played before, but I've made a couple minor changes. That is that I've tested the Metallic Rebukes in here, but I've really been liking them recently. Saves you against Dust to Dust, saves you against some win conditions like a Dread Return if your opponent happens to be fully tapped out. That's not the greatest example, but there are a lot of great things they can counter your opponent's Grab the Prizes, Gutter Snipes, things like that. So I've been really loving these in here. I'm also doing a 1-1 split of Navigator's Compass and Nihil Spellbomb to hedge against both burn decks and graveyard decks. We also have Thraben Charm still in here, so we have a lot of graveyard hate. I'm also playing a Bojuka Bog and a Swamp to have a few more lands that just don't get blown up to Dust. And also having a basic has been really good against Cleansing Wildfire and Initiative decks, and Bojuka Bog is just very, very good in the deck in general. Otherwise, it looks pretty standard. Glinthawk, Skyfishers, Refurb, Thoughtcast, Mirror Enforcers, 2 Tithing Blade, 3 Cast Down, 1 Grim Bauble, and Raven's Crime, 2 Blood Fountains. Then our sideboard, pretty standard as what I've been doing recently. Dust to Dusts, Blue Elemental Blasts, 3 Fairy Macabres. This might be a little overboard for graveyard hate, but I do hate losing to Spy, and I've been losing to it a lot recently. Last Rites, 2 Shrivels, Duress, another Spellbomb, and another Compass. So we're hopping into the challenge right now. Let's see how we do. We are on the play, and the hand looks pretty good. We have Cryogens and Glinthawks. We have some decent removal. I think we're definitely going to start with Black-Blue Bridge, so that if our opponent plays a 1-drop, we can Grim Bauble it right away. This also still gives us a blue mana so that if we top deck an untapped land, I can play a Cryogen Relic on turn 2, assuming we don't want to bauble them. Blue-black is generally the land that is best to start with, because all of our white spells are spells you want to cast after other spells. Glinthawk, Core Skyfisher, and Thraben Charm are just generally not ones you need right away. That's not always true if you want to Thraben Charm your opponent's Sneaky Snacker or something on turn 2, but in general, blue-black is the land you want to start with. Also, if you're going to go tap land into another tap land, all the 1-mana spells we're going to want to cast are black. Grim Bauble, Raven's Crime, maybe if you want to do that, and Blood Fountain, and you're not probably going to be doing a Glinthawk on turn 1. Opponent mulligans to 6 and has a Tomb Raider, so Grim Bauble looking really good here. We take 2, but we don't have to take any additional damage. And I'm going to assume this means Red Rally, which we have a lot of value here, so a little slow against Rally, but honestly, if they just play like a creature or 2 here, I could Glinthawk the Bauble, play it again. They are on 1 land with a Percussionist, so I almost don't want to kill that with the Glinthawk. I think I'd rather just take the 1 damage, so I think I'm going to play a Cryogen here. Hopefully hit a land. Perfect. And now, especially if our opponent misses a land again, we're off to the races. We can start playing Enforcers and things. They have a Synth, which can maybe find a land. It finds a Bushwhacker. They can just cast that if they did also find a mountain, but it looks like not. All right. So now we have Bridge, Cryogen. That'll let us play our Enforcer for free. Then we can Glinthawk, and we can now be the beatdown. Opponent obviously stumbling is giving us a pretty good shot here. Galvanic Blast. I mean, they have 3 permanents, but they are all artifacts, so that's not bad for them. They don't attack, which is interesting because you'd think they might want to hit their land drop. We get a Skyfisher. I'm still not going to kill this. I think we'll just lead with a Thoughtcast. Enforcer is not free yet because I bounced a Cryogen, so let's just play that again. Suffocating Fumes is also made for this matchup. Gonna play this, and we still haven't played a land, so a land would be a good draw. Bojuka Bog, not really any relevance, but it is a land. We could take it for 2, and if our opponent somehow amasses a board, we have the Fumes to clear them out. So we win game 1. Obviously, they just kept a risky hand, and it did not pay off. So against Rally, we get Shrivel, obviously, Blue Elemental Blast, Navigator's Compass, and I've even been enjoying some Dust to Dusts, because they do play a lot of artifacts, and it's a nice way to get rid of Clockwork Percussionist and Synthesizer without them getting additional value. Obviously, Fumes is staying in, Bauble is as well, but we can take out Raven's Crime, Spellbomb. Thraben Charm is basically just a bad cast down, and to be honest, Cast Down and Tithing Blade are not very effective either, so I think we cut those as well. You could keep a Tithing Blade instead of a Cast Down, and I'm still not sold on which one I want to do. Cast Down can specifically kill a 2-2. The difference between a 2-2 and a 1-1 is not enormous. But the Tithing Blade can obviously be repeatable, and it can be life gain in the late game. I think we'll keep 1 Tithing Blade. There's not really anything else I want to bring in. Duress and Fairy Macabres are good against Mono Red Madness, but I don't need them here, so we'll just do the 1 of Tithing Blade. And Rebuke is also really good here. They're not usually going to have enough mana to pay for it, so it can counter just about anything. You really want to counter the Burning Tree Emissaries, because that will stop them from casting anything additional. Obviously, this is not a keepable hand, so we're going to mulligan. Okay. We have Shrivel and Fumes. We do have a Bajuka Bog, which means it doesn't die to Artifact Hate, but obviously it's worse for our affinity count. We're going to keep this one. And, I mean, Thoughtcast, we only have 2 artifacts. Tithing Blade could be bad, but if we Shrivel to wipe everything, or Fumes, and then Tithing Blade, it's not terrible. I think Thoughtcast kind of draws us out of it. I think we're going to get rid of the Rebuke. Thoughtcast is looking to be the worst card right now, and if we have Tithing Blade in these 2 lands on the battlefield, then Rebuke becomes decent, but Thoughtcast will ideally just draw us more things. Razor Tide's pretty good. However, in case they just go for like a rally here, I'm going to just play the black land so we can have Shrivel up. And also this plays around a Cast into the Fire, exiling our land right away. There's a rally, so we will definitely Shrivel. I mean, we still took 4 damage off of these 2 cards, but we get a decent 2-for-1 and halt their assault for now. Ideally, they just play like 1 creature here, and then we can Tithing Blade it away. They go for Ren's Resolve, a Lightning Bolt, and an Epicure. They do have the land, so if they just Epicure, we could Tithing Blade. Obviously, we could just save that for Fumes. It is a damage. I don't want to be taking damage. Yeah, I think we'll just Tithing Blade. It's a little safe, but that's kind of how you want to play in general here. We're at a virtual 12. If they even just have like a Bushwhacker, this saves us 2 damage. There's the bolts. And they're discarding lands to blood. That's a very good sign that they pretty much just have lands and maybe burn in their hand that they're not willing to cast yet. Land is great. That lets us play a Thoughtcast and hold up Fumes maybe. Or if I just draw a creature, I'll probably play that and like Cryogen, unless they Pyroblast here. Okay, fair enough. They didn't have any creatures last time, so I think we're going to not hold up the Fumes and just play the Relic here. If they have another Pyroblast, it's fine. I can live with that. That means that we're not dying to burn very soon. All right, we kept the wrong mana up. I kept up white for a Glinthawk as opposed to black for a Refurb, but it's not a big deal unless they play like a Tomb Raider here, in which case trading off would be pretty good. They discard a Galvanic Blast to a blood token. Okay. I mean, Galvanic only deals 2 damage. There's the Tomb Raider. And a Bushwhacker. Yeah, definitely wish we had left up the black mana, but we had 4, either way, we had 4 creatures that we could hit for just that 1 mana. We did have Grim Bauble and Blood Fountain that we could hit for black mana, but those don't really do anything here. We're not in a terrible spot. I can Refurb their last card. I only have 1 black mana, so I can't also Bauble, but I'm definitely going to Thoughtcast first. I could Cryogen to keep one of these tapped. I might do that if I don't draw anything here. Oh, but Glinthawk is a blocker. So let's Refurb, take their card, Glinthawk. We already have 2 removal spells in hand, so I think we're just going to pick up the Cryogen to draw more. And we get another Glinthawk. I think I'm just going to put that on the field. I don't think I need the value from the Relic. We do get to pick up the Tithing Blade, but in case they get like a rally or something, we have more blockers. And if they don't, we can kind of just wipe their board. They get a land. That's great for us. We can wipe their board and start attacking, and we don't give them very much time. If they swing with the Tomb Raider, I will trade for it because I don't want to take 2. But if not, we get to just Bauble and Tithing Blade their creatures away. And we still get to leave up Suffocating Fumes, which is, again, very like overly cautious. But if they top deck a rally, I think I want to have that. Worst case, I can just sack the Bauble to Surveil. And we have a 3-turn clock here. If we find another flyer, we can make it a 2-turn clock, and we win the match. Nice quick one for Esper Cryo Blade. All right, we're in round 2. I believe Bako de Gaia does elves usually. Could be wrong about that. That's a mulligan. This one's pretty decent. Definitely a keep. If it is elves, that's not a great matchup for us. And our opponent has disconnected. I assume it probably just has something to do with MTGO's been kicking a lot of people out recently. I'm sure they'll be back. All right, they're back. We're going to keep this one, and they're all pretty good. I think Blood Fountain's kind of our lowest value. I mean, not lowest value. Like Mirror Enforcer would probably be that, but like we can have kind of an aggressive start with the Mirror Enforcer. Although if we get rid of the Blood Fountain, Mirror Enforcer is going to be a little slower. I guess it probably just is the Enforcer here. If it is elves, okay, fairies. Yeah, I guess Blood Fountain's fine then. If it was elves, then having the Mirror Enforcer for a little bit more speed might have been better. Against fairies, I think it's not clear which one's better, but Blood Fountain's still not going to be bad, probably if things get countered. Tithing Blade's not bad if they go for like a ninja here. Augur Bolas. Okay. I'm going to guess Izzet or Dimir Faeries then. I get a Lorien revealed. Tithing Blade can kill one of these, or I could just Refurb, but then Refurb could be cheaper later. They didn't ninja, so it feels like they might not have one. We're going to just Tithing Blade, I think. This allows us to, next turn we could do Refurb, Skyfisher, pick up the Tithing Blade. If we top deck a Glint Hawk, this would allow us to Glint Hawk Tithing Blade again, which could be pretty good. Sack the Augur. There's the Aquifer. And swing for 1. Hold up Spell Stutter. We get a Tithing Blade. Obviously, we're not going to cast that into a Spell Stutter sprite, though. So I'll cast a Refurb. If they just counterspell this, then I can Skyfisher pick up the Tithing, which they do. Not terrible, though. Double Tithing Blade is kind of oppressive. If they don't have a lot of creatures, they need like a cast down or snuff out or something to get past this. Plus, if they don't have a ninja, it doesn't matter too much anyway. Cycle the Lorien. They do have a snuff out and swing. Now Tithing Blade just gets spell stuttered, as does a Blood Fountain. Or anything we cast. So I think we just play a bridge and pass, and then Tithing Blade next turn. And if it gets countered, then we Tithing Blade again. I could Tithing Blade here, and if they have Spell Stutter, then next turn I could maybe Tithing Skyfisher, pick it back up. It might be better. I would love to find like a cast down so we can Tithing Blade, and then in response to the Spell Stutter, cast that down. They're going to cast a Thorn. Okay. Well, not the worst thing if they don't have removal. If they do, it's kind of bad. But we get to Tithing Blade, Skyfisher. But we only have one creature, so if they kill this, we can't take the Monarch. We can then Blood Fountain, pick our guys back up, but it's pretty slow. There's a Brainstorm, and they just cast down the Skyfisher. There's a Refurb. I think I'd rather Refurb Resolves. So let's go for the Tithing Blade if they have the Spell Stutter, as I've anticipated. Yep. Then we can at least Refurb and Tithing Blade one of these guys. It might almost be better to just play the Blood Fountain while they can't counterspell it, since they still have a blocker for this. But for mana efficiency, I think we'll do this. They do attack. Feels like they have a ninja then, but I guess I probably should just block if I think they have a ninja, because they could just replay. Obviously, I don't want to block because I want to take the Monarch. If they don't have a removal spell and they just have a Fairy Seer, and then we get another removal spell for the Fairy Seer, this is better. But if not, it would have been better to just block, probably. I scry 2 to the top, and Pajuka Bog, of course. Brutal. I mean, I guess now we Fountain and pitch the bridge. I mean, hopefully this doesn't get countered. Compass. Exactly what we wanted. I can attack, I guess, so the Blood Fountain can find something. I guess we play a Compass. We have one other Blood Fountain in our deck that it would matter to, like, discard it. I mean, it's not the end of the world if it gets spell stuttered, but obviously giving him that free value is not the best. If we just had, like, one more creature when they landed the Monarch and could just, like, put down 2 creatures, I feel like they wouldn't have been able to kill both of them. They have another Bajuka Bog, of course. Okay, someone's getting lucky. That's a good draw, as long as they don't have a counterspell. And that's just going to be game, I think. There's no way we can come back from that. Okay, I do think that was very lucky, but what are you going to do? Duress and Last Rites are good. Compass and Spellbomb are not. Everything else is decent. I would bring in Shrivel against Mono Blue, but I don't think you care for it that much against Blue Black. Then again, they were playing Hacker. So Fairy Seer, Spell Stutter, Hacker, at the very least, is 12 creatures. If they're playing Hacker, it's possible they're playing like Miscreants and stuff, because there has been like a Dimir Fae list that's a little bit more tempo, a little bit more mono blue plus snuff outs than the full like control version. Suffocating Fumes is good because it's instant speed, but I think we can leave the Shrivels in the board. I guess the Raven Charm, since graveyards and enchantments, Moonseeker Hacker's an enchantment, but usually this is going to just be worse than a cast down. Removal's good enough. Maybe I should just keep it down even as just an additional cast down, but I kind of like everything else we have, I think, a little better. All right, we got the Cryogens. I think this is okay. Obviously, we need some black mana. Could use some more creatures, too. Play a Contaminated, which is nice, so we don't get Spell Pierced or anything. Or a null. Land is good, although not a black land. There's the black land. I'm not going to Glint Hawk because they could Spell Stutter. I will just throw out another Cryogen because if they want a Counterspell or a null, I'm fine. If not, we'll just play this. The next turn I can have Rebuke up. Flash in the Spell Stutter, so probably have a Ninja. I could have just held up the Rebuke there, which might have been better, but I don't know. Skyfisher. If I play Skyfisher and it resolves, then I tap out a Rebuke, which is kind of annoying. So I think I'd rather just Glint Hawk. Then they'll go for a Spell Stutter. I can Rebuke that. And then I can play like a Blood Fountain or something. So we will counter, pick up a Cryogen. We get a land. That's great. Untapped land, because then I can play Skyfisher as well. Get it down outside of counterspells. Plus now I have 2 blockers in case they have 1 removal spell. There's a Snuff Out and a Cast Down. Fair enough. I mean, unless they have like another hacker, they're still just looting, so it's not the end of the world. I guess the Raven Charm blowing this up as an enchantment might be relevant here. They discarded Dispel and don't play a land. That's nice. Feels like if they discarded Dispel, they might have another one though, or maybe an Annul for a relic, but let's try that anyway. Cast down. I think we will just try to blow this up. That worked. Clearly don't have anything, so I think getting down the Blood Fountain here would be nice too. Obviously they could just find a Bajuka Bog, but they didn't have a land last turn, so they have to find that. Cycle a Lorien for an island. There's an Augur. Finds another Lorien. Start with a Cryogen, refurb, make him discard a card. I'm gonna just kill this while they're tapped mostly out. Again, it feels like they don't have a Dispel or anything. They're going to cast a Lorien Revealed. It's not bad. Tithing is okay. I guess we just Blood Fountain back our 2 creatures and then play a Glint Hawk, pick up a Cryogen. Duress is interesting. I still think I probably just want to play a Skyfisher. We can Duress next turn before we cast anything else. They have a Preordain, and I win. All right, nice. Let's try to not die. Fairy Macabre is kind of funny because as just a flyer, it's not very good, but like in mono blue fairies, it's so important that they connect that it might be worth bringing in. And honestly, it dodges Snuff Out, so I don't know if like on the draw it would be decent to have. I don't really know what to cut though. Everything seems pretty good. We've already cut a Thraben Charm, which is like not a bad card, but if you wanted more flyers, that's technically something we could do. This hand is kind of close. If this was an artifact land, I think we'd keep it, but as is, we can do like a turn 2 Bauble, turn 3 Refurb. That's really awkward. I don't think that's going to work. I mean, this one needs a blue mana. Again, the Bog is killing me here because that means we can't do a turn 2 Blade. We could definitely get a better 5, but I think we just keep this one, I guess. All right, they didn't have a 1-drop. That's nice. We get a Vault, but I don't need a Tithing Blade. I'm not going to Raven's Crime because it doesn't do a lot, but also it would just give them something to Spell Stutter. So we'll just Bog. If they want to Spell Stutter for no value to get a Ninja going, they can do. They do. Play an Aquifer and no Ninja. Okay. I guess maybe they just have another Spell Stutter then. So, I mean, I want to go Tithing Blade into Refurb, but if they have another Spell Stutter, which I feel like if they don't have a Ninja, that's the reason to play the first Spell Stutter, then the Tithing Blade just gets countered and then we have nothing. So let's just Refurb. If they want to counterspell, that's fine. I will Raven's Crime them since I have the mana and there's no Spell Stutter up. Just hamper their cards a little bit. They discard a Fumes. That's kind of a weird one to keep in or bring in because it hits our refurbs, but that's pretty much it. Swing with the Spell Stutter. There's the Moon Circuit Hacker and pass. This doesn't get Spell Stuttered, so we're going to try for a Tithing Blade. They just have a Counterspell and they have Spell Stutter, so I think I just Glint Hawk here. We are not in a very good spot. If we find blue mana, we could be okay. There's a Cast Down. Like a Seed of the Synod would hopefully let us play a Cryogen here. They loot, get rid of a Murmuring Mystic. Their hand is stacked. I'm gonna play a Skyfisher. They just have the 3rd counterspell. Okay. Attack with a Hacker. Now they have an Okiba Gang. I mean, I guess if I draw an untapped artifact land, I can play this Mirror Enforcer. If I draw an untapped blue land, I can play one of these. But I guess that's less likely, so let's just discard these. We get a Cryogen. Now we discard our hand, and we lose. Triple counterspell. Skyfisher, let's play that. Spell Stutter, and then another one? No. I will bounce this Bog just in case they have a Gurmag. I guess we're still playing Magic, but not for long. There's a Snuff Out and a Bog, and they have the Hacker again, obviously, and we get a Cryogen. Well, that was pretty frustrating. I do think that we maybe should have mulliganed to 5. Because they did not have the best start ever, so us having a better 5 could have been, given us a better chance, but also they did have a bunch of counter spells, a bunch of removal, like 3 counterspell, Cast Down, Snuff Out, Spell Stutter, Hacker, like basically the best cards they could have. All right, here we are, round 3, 1 land, it's not going to cut it. I mean, this isn't a very good hand either way. Definitely going to ship that one. This is pretty good though. We're going to keep and just get rid of this swamp, I think. It's game 1, so ideally we shouldn't have to deal with artifact removal, but if they're on anything that has a Master Vandal in their main deck, that might not be the case. Looks like Boros Synth. We get a Spell Bomb. Just put down a bridge here. We can get a Cryogen next turn. I probably should have played the Razortide Bridge, because now if I play the Cryogen this turn and then don't get a white mana that's untapped or something else to play, then I can't play the Glint Hawk, so that was a bit of a mistake. We do get a refurb though, so I can refurb next turn if nothing else. So not the worst thing, but based on our hand, I should have played the Razortide. Melded Moxite. Okay, so it looks like Boros Synthless Synth with Moxites instead of Synth and Snackers and the like. So it would have been nice to have a Spell Bomb down last turn. We're going to refurb, and if they discard another Snacker, well, we're going to put the Spell Bomb down either way, but at least we have a way to interrupt that one. 1 artifact short of the Enforcer. There's another Moxite, so we'll let them discard a card, and then we'll exile the Snacker. This is kind of card disadvantage. I mean, it's kind of a 1-for-1 because we're getting rid of the Snacker, but we used a whole card, and they discarded that card, so it's not really great for us, but also we can't really have Snackers staying on the field. I could have waited until maybe we can kill both Snackers and then done that, but one would have been back. So even if I cast down, it wouldn't have been great, I don't think. They don't attack for fear of another spellbomb, maybe. Vault is good, so let's play a Vault, and I'm gonna play a Glint Hawk because I can, if I get nothing else, I'll just replay the Relic, and then I can play a Mirror Enforcer for 1, and I'd like to get that down. Thoughtcast. We did already hit our land drop. I think I'd rather have an attacking Mirror Enforcer, so let's do that. They bolt the Glint Hawk and swing. We know they have another Moxite in hand, so I don't think it makes sense to trade with a Snacker. Let's just take 4. We have Thraben Charms, 2 Thraben Charms and a Bojuka Bog in our deck, so ideally we can find one of those and then where we can like cast down the Snacker and then get rid of it permanently. They Galvanic Blast the Enforcer, that's annoying. There's the Bog, so I guess we just Skyfisher the Relic, see what we get. Fumes, okay. Well, that makes me almost want to hold the Fumes for the Snacker. That means I'm not hitting my land drop here, so maybe I thought cast to try to hit our land drop. This is getting a little greedy, but I'm trying to make the most of our removal. Because if I cast down the Snacker and then I don't have a way to kill the Skyfisher, it's kind of, it could be a problem later. Now, if they bolt the Skyfisher, they get in for 4, and I could have gotten rid of the Snacker, so I'm taking extra damage, but I don't know. This turn, I can Suffocating Fumes, Tithing Blade, and then bog away the creatures, which could be pretty decent. They do bolt the Skyfisher, so we're going to take 4 here. We've already seen 3 bolts/blasts, but they could obviously have as many as 5 more. Another Tithing Blade. So I could also just double Tithing here. That's not as mana efficient. Plus, they could Moxite to keep the Skyfisher alive. I guess they could do that for the Tithing Blade anyway. So maybe I just Fumes and then cast down the Skyfisher and then bog. And then the Tithing Blades can mop up the robots later maybe. Let's do this and just bog. I don't think in white-red, there's not really a reason the Skyfisher matters in the graveyard. And then I'll swing and I'll just hold up cast down. I guess by doing Tithing Blade, I get probably one of these creatures regardless, both of which are 2 power, but I meant to hold back the refurb to block the robot. That was the idea, so that I wouldn't take 2 here, and then I forgot about that, and that's silly because now if they have like triple bolt, well, I guess 1 Galvanic and 2 bolts, I could die, and I did not need to take 2 damage there. All right, so we have the Tithing Blade. They can Moxite at the end step, so we should not forget they can make another creature, but let's Cryogen first. Compass can gain us some life, so let's Tithing Blade, hit the robot, see if they want to do anything about that. And I might want to pick up this Compass with like the Skyfisher, but I'm not dead at 10, so I think going up to 13 is going to be pretty safe. So for now, I'm going to get a little more value with this Cryogen. Then I'm going to play the Compass to try not to die here. And we win the game. Okay, I guess they were counting on the burn win and then just assume they're not going to be able to get it with the Compass. Their mana base didn't look largely artifacts, I don't think, but with Moxites and Lembuses, I think it's probably worth bringing in. Duress is good here. I guess Blue Blast is probably good. Spellbomb. Okay, so we might not be bringing in all of these. Fairy Macabre is also good against Snackers. What else are they going to have to discard? When I played the deck, because I played it a couple weeks ago, there wasn't a lot else to discard, but I added some Prismatic Strands and stuff, so it's possible they've done some of that. Although I don't care too much about Prismatic Strands. Okay, what isn't very good? Fumes isn't great. It was decent there, but because it gets all the Snackers, which I guess having a way to get rid of all the Snackers at once is pretty decent. Tithing Blade was kind of, it was also decent there, but like if they have Snackers and I can't get rid of it, it's kind of rough. I guess Compass, like everything is kind of decent. I have super overboarded, I do have an absurd amount of ways to exile cards from the graveyard. But Fairy Macabre can also just block. The Raven Charm can kill creatures, so I almost think cutting these spell bombs makes sense. I probably don't need many Fairy Macabres in the main deck. I probably don't need this many Fairy Macabres in the sideboard with all these other graveyard cards around, but I'll still probably find a way to lose against Spy with them. Maybe Dust to Dust isn't as important when we have some counter spells and stuff. And I kind of like a Raven's... I guess Raven's Crime, they have some discard stuff. I kind of like a Compass, because as we saw, it seemed kind of decent there. I guess I probably should take out Fumes. I usually do against this type of match. Rebuke still feels decent, so I guess we'll do like something like this. Oh, and of course I didn't mention, but Duresses and Rebukes are very important to get Dust to Dusts so that we don't get obliterated. This is not keepable. This is also not keepable. This one is, and we do have a Red Blast. We have a Rebuke, but we don't have a Rebuke early enough to match a turn 3 Dust to Dust. We're just gonna have to deal with that. I think we put back the Enforcer and the Blue Blast. If they get a Dust to Dust, but they don't have it right on turn 3, it's on like turn 4 or 5, then we can have Rebuke up with Cryogen and maybe survive. But a Dust to Dust probably just wins them the game. in general, if it takes our first 2 lands, it's really good, but also we just mulligan to 5, so I think we have to keep Rebuke to try to play around that. They have an Inspector. We'll play a Bridge. They swing for 1 and just have a Clue to crack. Well, we drew another land, but we will see what happens here. They attack for 1. Kabir Crossroads, although I would need an untapped land off the top, or like a Blood Fountain to be able to hold up this Rebuke. Duress, though, it's important enough that we don't get Dust to Dusted that I'm going to Duress over playing the Relic here, because if we play Relic and we get Dust to Dusted, we just lose. Okay, Red Blast. We still hit something. They have a Glint Hawk and a Snacker. That's not a big deal. So we're in a decent spot, I think. They don't have a lot going on. They even just exile the Relic right away. Play a Mountain. They do have a Great Furnace, so at least a few artifact lands is good to know about in case we want to bring in Dust to Dust. There's another Relic. That's fine. Another Rebuke. I'm going to play a Cryogen. They found a Red Blast again. Thoughtseize Bug. That's pretty annoying. It's not like the best thing ever for them, but it's still, it would have been very nice to have. Attack for 1 and pass. Blood Fountain is decent. It lets us hold up Rebuke here, but I kind of want to get a creature down to stop taking damage from this guy. So we will just pass, and then next turn we can hold up Rebuke from then on, and hopefully we don't regret it. Well, holding up a Rebuke for the Moxite would have been pretty good. They have a Snacker, or just like a Thraben Charm for it. Windscarred Crag, plus they can Glint Hawk back the Moxite. Mirror Enforcer's decent. We get a Blood Fountain and can play 1 mana Enforcer. This means we're not holding up Thraben Charm, but we still get Rebuke. Of course, they can play their Moxite around Rebuke, but if they draw something else to cast, I can counter that. They found another Snacker. Yeah, I think we just need to keep this Skyfisher alive, honestly. We're just taking too much damage. If not, they could just have another Bolt, but do our best to keep it alive. There's a Lembas, right at the bottom. Glint Hawk is, I guess, fine. We're going to attack with the Enforcer. I guess we'll just stockpile these blood tokens. Maybe I should just hold up the Thraben Charm in case they have, like, another Snacker or something. Crack the Relic. There's a Glint Hawk. Can't counter that, but I'll counter a Moxite on the way down. Or a Lembas, maybe. Lembas doesn't feel that high value, but I also feel like they're getting enough lands that I kind of need to get some value off of this at some point. Plus, if they wanted to pick that up over the Moxite, clearly they don't have anything to discard, so I don't know. If they want to pick up the Lembas again, then they don't have that option now. Refurb. We're going to attack with the Enforcer. If they want to like double block with Snackers, then that's fine, because I can just blow up the graveyard. They just chump. We will play a Refurb, take a Snacker, yeah, there's a Glint Hawk. Now pick up the Moxite, try to get the Snacker back. I will exile the graveyard. They discard another Moxite. I mean, we got to get rid of these at some point, I think. Thoughtcast into other stuff would probably be some of our best draws. They also have a Skyfisher. Cryogen is not bad. Let's play that. Glint Hawk would be a great draw, assuming they don't have a Pyroblast here, although we know they have a Moxite and 1 unknown, so they'd have to have exactly that. And there it is. This cannot block on the ground, so we're going to attack with the Mirror Enforcer still. I guess now they can block with 2 Snackers, and they have a Moxite in hand. We don't have anything in hand, so I think they maybe should have done that, but I guess if they just have some removal spells and can go on the offense, that's what they want to do. I gotta block these. Unfortunately, we're gonna lose them because they have a Relic, so our Blood Fountain's not gonna pick them up, but I can't afford to take that damage. There's the Relic. Another Skyfisher. They've drawn so many of their bouncers. 5. It's a lot. We get 1 cast down. That's not going to keep us alive. Can't imagine anything else is either, but let's look for something. Let's Thoughtcast. Pajuka Bog and Thraben Charm way too late. Okay. I do feel like Dust to Dust might be decent. Obviously getting rid of Moxites and stuff is good, which we already knew about. But they were playing some artifact lands. I think Thraben Charms, like, having to leave these up is just kind of a pain. If I had Fairy Macabres for those Snackers, things wouldn't have been quite as bad. Compass is good if we get into, like, a burn situation, so I kind of like leaving 1, but it's not great. Also, with them playing Relics, I mean, maybe it's just because we saw 2 or 3 Relics, but it feels like Blood Fountains maybe are not as good. So maybe I could do like Compass, Fairy Macabre over that. It's a lot of fairies. I could bring in 2 Compasses, which also helps if they do Dust to Dust us. Helps us have certain types of mana. But I kind of feel like their deck revolves around Moxite Snacker, so I really want to interrupt the Snacker. So let's just do all the Macabres. On the play, this hand has a lot of utility. I think we're going to keep it. We do need more lands, and we need card draw and creatures. But ideally, we can just slow them down enough with like Duress, maybe Blue Blast, that we can survive. Play a Crag, Skyfisher. So do I just hold up Blue Blast for the Moxite? Then if they don't play Moxite, then I'm in the same predicament next turn. I think we're just going to duress. So they have Moxite, Bolt, Red Blast. They don't have an untapped land, but they could draw it. But also then the next turn they would have Garrison. Like, based on their mana, they're going to play a Moxite without Red Blast up, so maybe I should not take it. Or I could just take the Red Blast. I think we just take the Moxite, though. I think keep it simple. Take the best card there. Their hand does a lot less without it. They did draw the Plains, but they just hold up mana. I could play a Skyfisher. It doesn't really do anything. It's just a 2/3, and I can't even bounce and hold up a Blue Blast. I think we just pass. If I play a Skyfisher here and then they top deck a Moxite that they're able to cast, that's going to be really bad for us. I think we just hold up Blue Blast. We really need another land. Yep. Now even if I hold up Blue Blast, they're going to have a Red Blast for it, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, Skyfisher just dies to a Bolt, so that's not really great either. I think we just pass. There's an Inspector. Come on, land. Refurb we can play. I mean, it puts a Snacker in their bin, which isn't really great for us, but it is an artifact, and it's something to pick up with a Skyfisher. Now, it'll probably just eat a Bolt, but if it doesn't, it lets us Thoughtcast next turn. They do crack the Clue and bolt the Refurb. Surprise, surprise. I guess Thoughtcast also just gets Red Blasted. Plus, they can Skyfisher the Inspector. I probably should have cast down the Inspector when we saw it. We had the mana up, and it was probably enough value, seeing as they can bring it back with the Skyfisher. Now we get a Glint Hawk. I guess I Glint Hawk, and then I can cast down Relic. I'll cast down the Skyfisher. Honestly, maybe this isn't the right call, because if they do have another Skyfisher, I might still want to kill the Inspector, but I think we just got to do what we got to do. Here's a Refurb. They didn't cast anything else. They have a Plains to discard. I'll swing with the Glint Hawk. They bolt it. Crack their Clue. Galvanic the Refurb. Swing for 1. Oh boy. How long can we go without drawing a land? Here's a Skyfisher. Relic away the cast down. Our Ancient Den, replay it. If we draw a seat, I can even do Thoughtcast with Blue Blast to backup. That'd be pretty good, but I would take anything. Refurb is, I guess, not terrible. They discard a mountain. We'll attack with the Skyfisher. They're going to swing with the Inspector. We are not going to block. They bolt the Skyfisher. Okay, but not the Refurb. Swing. Okay, I'm going to Glint Hawk, because we have an out of just attacking them here if they keep not drawing something. But we can also, I'm just going to pick up this land and cast a Thoughtcast. I know they have a Red Blast. That's going to happen regardless. Oh, they don't blast it. That's crazy. I just figured next turn we could Thoughtcast if that one gets countered. Galvanic the Glint Hawk. I love all these burn spells just going at our creatures. It's keeping us alive. Compass. Okay, we now have a land. That's 4 artifacts. Then we can play a Compass. That's 5. Can't then play an Enforcer. They can counter a Thoughtcast. They still have this Glint Hawk. That's crazy to me that they have not played it. But I guess they've been able to keep our creatures relatively low, like our creature count, and then they don't have any value to pick up with it. All right, so we know they have a Red Blast, so there's not a lot of reason to Thoughtcast. So I'm just going to play this Compass right now and then hold up Red Blast, or Blue Blast, excuse me, which if they get a Moxite, they have the Red Blast for. That's probably why they're trying to do it. Save it for themselves. They finally crack the Relic. They were trying to hold on as long as possible, but we are pulling ahead, and they do have to exile their Snacker for that. Now they attack for 1. They find a Moxite. We're going to counter it. They can blast it, but then we have free reign for these other ones, these Thoughtcasts. I would love to find another artifact land so we can get down Enforcers for cheap-ish. Of course, they're going to Glint Hawk. Now they have a Moxite in hand we know about. They also discarded a Galvanic. That's 3 Lightning Bolts and 3 Galvanics gone. Bridge is great. Let's just start with a Thoughtcast. I'd also love to leave up a Compass. Macabre is good. Blue Blast is good. Not leave up a Compass, leave up a Rebuke. So let's Thoughtcast again. Oh, I didn't do that quite right. I didn't need to Thoughtcast. That was a big mistake. I was thinking that I was playing these Enforcers for free, but I'm playing them for 1, which means I'm tapping out here, which I really don't want to do. Although I can Blue Blast, but I can't Rebuke. Oh, that was a big mistake. I did not need a Thoughtcast. If I had double Enforcered, so I could double Enforcer now, but then if they have like a Dust to Dust, it's bad. Although Dust to Dust, if they have a land, I'm not going to be able to Rebuke anyway. Yeah, it's not great. Well, I'm going to attack. They take it. I'm going to double Enforcer, I think, but I should not have cast that Thoughtcast. It was not unnecessary, and I could be holding up both of these right now. For example, 1 for this. If they have a Snacker, I can exile it with the Macabre, but I could have just countered this, which would have been way better, obviously. And there's a Glint Hawk, which means they can pick it up and cast it again. Oh, boy. Yep. I mean, we're still not in a bad spot with all these enforcers around, but that could have been a much better turn for us, or rather a much worse turn for them. We're just getting bridges now. Well, we're going to attack with everybody, and I think we just hold up. They just take it, go to 10. Well, that's almost scary. Part of me wants to play the Macabre as a blocker, but then I don't have Rebuke. I only have Blue Blast, whereas this way I have Blue Blast and Rebuke. There's a Moxite. Now we're going to counter this one. They've already gone through 6 of their 8 burn spells, so I think this is fine. If they have a Pyro, then I can't do anything about it, but they can't cast anything else without us being able to counter it. And they just discard lands, so they're like Glint Hawk, I think, is probably counterable. It's just a blocker, makes it so they can double block. And we win the match. Oh my gosh, that was a crazy last game. We both did not do anything for so long. This was turn 13. We made, honestly, I thought we were going to lose the match after we made that mistake of not holding up the, like, I cast a Thought Cast when I didn't need to. Could have held up all of our interaction. And then it was a really bad turn for us with them getting double Moxite and a Glint Hawk out. But they just drew so many lands, it feels like. I mean, early they drew all of their burn, which did keep them alive for a very long time, but obviously they didn't have any value. We saw they had that Glint Hawk in hand for like 8 turns, not being able to find a Moxite. Yeah, that's crazy. We were able to get there. On the play in match 4 here, and we have a pretty decent hand. Obviously need some white mana at some point, but we don't even have any white cards to care about. We're going to keep. We can do a turn 2 refurb, turn 3 Thoughtcast. Hopefully find some more lands from that. We also have some 2 cast downs in case we go up against a creature matchup. Start with the Mistvault Bridge and pass. All right, a bridge, so we're probably against Jund or Grixis. We get a Glint Hawk. Let's just play our refurb. Either way, they're also going to be a refurb deck, so basically a mirror match. Chrysalis. Okay, so it is Jund. Cast down's better in Jund. That's an annoying duress right away because it takes Thoughtcast probably. I mean, cast down is good here. They kept a. Did they mulligan? They did mulligan. But they kept a 1-lander? Well, that's a hell of a top deck. All right. Rebuke is pretty good, just because if we have nothing else, we can counter their next spell. Unless, I did think they might duress. They kept a 1-lander with a couple duresses. It's still not a very good hand, but probably take the Rebuke. Enforcer, we're 1 mana off the Enforcer. I'm not going to crack the Relic. We're just going to pass. I mean, we're definitely in a better spot here. Cast down, probably not looking to be too good for a little while, but if they try to start stabilizing, cast down, is pretty good against that. There's a Blood Fountain. There's a bridge. A little late, but I think it's still pretty good for us, putting us in a good spot to win this game. They have a refurb. I'm just going to get rid of a cast down. I have enough artifacts I can Blood Fountain, Glint Hawk. I just want to cast this down, though. So I'm just going to 1 mana Enforcer. I don't need the Blood Fountain. And then I'm going to cast this down so that they can't block the refurb. We can just attack, and then we have them dead next turn. If they play another refurb, I can Glint Hawk the Relic. I think we'll be okay because of their sketchy keep. And we won the match. Not the match, the game. Don't get ahead of ourselves. All right, Dust to Dust is good. Duress is good. Spellbomb's decent. Blue Blast is decent. Last Rites is okay. Tithing Blade is bad, as is Suffocating and Grim Bauble. We don't need a Compass. Rebuke's good. Thraben Charm, Cast Down's good. So 4 cuts. So Blue Blast is good because they have Wildfire. Krark is kind of irrelevant. Makeshift is moderately relevant. If they're on Gixians, they're probably on Galv Blasts. And then also they're going to have Pyroblasts, which are not bad. Probably don't need these. These are definitely better to bring in against, obviously, mono red, but also against decks that are doing like Cast into the Fire, where they're going to be doing Troublemaker Oof. Plus Blue Blast, Thraben Charm can already hit Munition. Thraben Charm can already hit Munitions. Dust to Dust is already for bridges. I kind of like Raven's Crime over Last Rites, and I don't really want to get rid of any of our other removal here. And I do want to hose the Graveyard, but I don't think we need Macabres for it because it's going to be more late game. Yeah, I think this looks all right. This hand looks pretty dang good. It gets worse if we lose this Mistvault Bridge. So I think, I mean, we want to lead on white anyway in case we want to like Cryogen Skyfisher, but I think we just lead on white for a couple turns in case they just like oof away our land. They got the Wildfire. Refurb. Obviously a reason to get our black mana going, but for now we're just going to play the Cryogen. They could just have a Chrysalis. They could have like Wellspring, Troublemaker. They got some options. Lembas. There's the oof. Yep. So we're going to lose the bridge most likely. Untapped land would be great. All right. It's not that big of a deal unless we get hit again. If we get hit again, it's pretty bad. I probably just want to play the white land so that we can draw to more lands. Otherwise, I could do Refurb Thoughtcast next turn, which I guess would be less likely that I have to discard. Spell Bomb is fine. Also, the way they tapped means no Chrysalis this turn. Refurb costs them 2. Ugh, all these cards are really good. I think we have enough value, as crazy as it is to say with these guys, that I'll get rid of one of our Thoughtcasts. I'm kind of expecting another Refurb, but there it is. So now they don't have Chrysalis, or at least they didn't play it here. We have blockers for all these. I think I'm going to get rid of this cast down. We might regret that. They're almost out of cards, though, is the good thing. So I could Thoughtcast Glinthawk. I mean, they're helping us so that we don't have to discard at end step, which is kind of good. So if we play this, if we play Bridge, Thoughtcast Glinthawk, we will draw 4, or draw 3 and put this back in our hand. We'll have 7 cards, so we won't discard. I think that seems good. Or I could just put down the Skyfisher, which if they don't have removal, blocks a lot better. I guess that's probably better. If they do have removal, it's about the same. But if they don't, I can just like Stonewall all their guys. They only have a couple cards, so it's possible they won't have a removal spell. Refurb. I guess this did just draw us fewer cards, so if we can't find a land next turn, it's kind of awkward. Especially if they take one of our lands, it's really bad. But they're attacking with everything. I'm gonna block a Refurb. Probably just the best one to block anyway. But I also don't want to put the Oof into the graveyard in case they get a Blood Fountain. They Insight the Refurb. That's fine. We take 4, but we kill one of their guys. Now they Chrysalis. That's less fine. Land is good. All right, we're gonna Refurb so that I can Thoughtcast. If I hit an untapped black land, I can Refurb them, or I could just Cryogen here, which is more mana efficient. Like if I Glinthawk the Refurb and I don't replay, it's kind of bad. I think we'll just Cryogen. Duress is not looking too good at the moment. Let's just pass. But they will certainly restock their hand at some point, and then Duress will be okay. Oh boy, they just got the double Chrysalis now. Okay, well they attack this way. We're definitely just going to block these two. They can deal us up to 6 if they want. We've already gone through 1 cast down. We have 2 more. We have 2 Thraben Charms. They do flashback into Eviscerator's Insight, pumping these each by 3. Because they sacked the Oof that was dying. If we find some Enforcers, then that could be pretty good for blocks. Land is decent. Let's just start with a Thoughtcast. More of that. We'll Glinthawk. I don't even have 2 black mana, so I can't play both of these right now. If I'm going to draw a land, I would like it to be a Vault or Swamp or something. No. I guess we're just chumping. I probably got a Duress, because if they have like a Makeshift Munitions or even a Galvanic, I might just die to these. Although then I'm going to be playing a land anyway. And if I play this Relic, which is all we have to play, if I find an Enforcer here, then actually playing the Refurb allows me to play the Enforcer for free. So let's just do this first just in case. And we don't. So playing this out doesn't allow us to block more profitably, so I'm just going to Duress to try to not die to whatever they have. Breath Weapon, for example. They have another Refurb. I mean, I guess with a Skyfisher, it's not the end of the world. But if we'd Refurbed, then they could Breath Weapon away both of those. That'd be pretty good. They Duress. They can take a Relic. That's fine. That being their draw is pretty decent for us. They have to embarrassingly pay 2 mana for their Refurb. We're just going to chump one of these. I guess that does mean we will die to a Galvanic Blast, but I think we need to just block one. I guess I can double Cryogen Relic to keep these tapped. Worst case scenario. That's not bad. Crack their Spell Bomb. We don't die to a Galvanic, actually, because they only have 2 artifacts now. Mirror Enforcer, a little late, but we'll still take it. I'm definitely going to end up playing this Cryogen, so let's just do that, and then Enforcer before we start cracking these. Yep. Play a Seat. Oh, I should have maybe played one of the black lands. I wanted to hold up the potential. I want to crack one of these relics, but I wanted to still hold up white and blue, or white and black, but we're just drawing so many lands. So I could keep this one tapped, or I could just play a Refurb, and technically I can like throw all 3 of them in front of this to block it, but then we still have to take damage from the Refurb. I think it's probably better to just keep it tapped. Spellbomb is okay. I guess it means if we finally find a way to kill these, at least we won't die to a Blood Fountain. Cycle their landscape. They have a Lembus and another Spellbomb. That's annoying because a Blood Fountain would be a nice way to have extra chump blockers. We don't need a Bog. We already have Spellbomb, which we're just going to use to draw a card here. I think we need to Duress. That's not very good. Plus we can't use both of these because I didn't play more black mana last turn. Partially my fault. But now I have to, if they attack with both of these, which why wouldn't they? I can't triple block. I have to chump 2 of them. I guess we keep Refurb because it can redraw us cards potentially. If we get like a Glinthawk or something, we're pretty dead here, but I think that's the best bet. Crack their spell bomb. Definitely got flooded. And we did get rid of a cast down early, which could have been a mistake for sure. There's a blood fountain now. A little late. I mean, it wouldn't have been good last turn, but still. A couple turns ago, maybe. Get rid of a land. Dust to dust, but unfortunately, these are not mirror forcers, so we can chump and we will die. Alright. We died to not getting enough removal. I did discard a cast down, so I fully admit that. It's possible I should have just discarded the second thought cast, like more card draw. One cast down there would have obviously done a lot of work. We would have been able to triple block that other Chrysalis at some point, probably kill it. Yeah, it could have been a big difference. But we didn't see any other cast downs. We didn't see any Thraben Charms. I guess that's the only removal we have at this point, because we took out all the small removal because it's not very good. Yeah, don't get rid of a cast down in this match, I don't think. That's not going to do it. We've got our cast downs. I mean, this one's pretty good. Funnily enough, though, I kind of want to get rid of a cast down here over a Metallic Rebuke. This is removal. We're not getting rid of, obviously, either of our lands or either of these, so we're getting rid of removal in some way. The question is, would we just prefer to have the hard removal for, like, Chrysalises, so we don't die that way, or, like, a Rebuke to prevent an Oof from blowing us up pretty badly, or something like that. I mean, I guess it's mostly just Oof or, like, a Chrysalis that we'd want to counter. Maybe a Refurb, but we can usually just pitch whatever to that. Obviously, if we had the right time, like maybe a Wildfire or something, but yeah, I think we do just get rid of this. Try to learn from my mistakes. Our opponent mulligans to 5. That means it might have been better to get rid of the cast down, honestly, because if they're on 5, they're going to need to probably find cards to get them back in the game, and if we can rebuke it, it's pretty good. But in any case, let's play a relic here. We hit a land drop, not a bad one. They have a spell bomb, and they do have a second land, but no black mana. It's kind of nice to see. We're going to see if we can find a different land to play, but if not, we'll just play the bog, and that's totally fine. They find a landscape, and they cast into the fire our bridge. That's pretty brutal. Now we get a dust to dust. Oh, I guess it was a blue-black one, right? Yeah, so we couldn't dust to dust anyway. I could Skyfisher. Part of me wants to go for the Blood Fountain to try to find a new land, but we have 2 cast downs, so I actually think we just go for the Skyfisher beatdown plan, because even if they have, like, they're doing pretty well considering I'm all to 5. Even if they have like a Chrysalis here that they can cast, or a Refurb, I can just cast down and try to go through them. If they have their own removal, it might not work very well. They have a Wildfire. And assuming we have our lands still on the field, then we can, worst case, just Blood Fountain next turn. There's a Refurb. I'm going to get rid of one of these relics. Ancient Den. All right. So I could Dust to Dust, which I think I should. I could take out the Refurb, but I can just cast that down. I think we just go for the lands. That takes them off red entirely, which can make it so that no Chrysalis is coming and no more Cast of the Fires or Wildfires or anything like that. So sometimes it's like, oh, don't go for the bridges at this point. I should just go for the artifact creatures and the spell bomb maybe, because we have a Blood Fountain. But no, I think here we just take those out and we can cast down the Refurb. They have a Lembas to try to find another red source. Scry to the top. It's a landscape. There we go. Swing for 2. We get a Skyfisher. All right. We will swing, and we don't have any value to gain from the bog, so I think we just play a Blood Fountain, pick it back up with the Skyfisher. But we're sticking to our game plan of just Skyfisher beatdown. They correct their landscape for a mountain. It's possible that picking up the Blood Fountain just isn't very good here because my black mana might be used up for cast downs for the next couple turns, but if it is, that might just win me the game, and also I would still need a black mana for the Blood Fountain activation at some point. So they have a Chrysalis, but of course we have the answer. They don't attack. Glint Hawk. We will cast down the Chrysalis, attack for 6, play a Glint Hawk, pick up a land, play it again, and that means we'll have 8 damage, which if we cast down the Refurb, should kill them even through the Lembas. I might also just Blood Token away either Cryogen or Blood Fountain here to just dig for something else. If they do have a Chrysalis, for example, I'd have to cast that down. Okay, that's annoying. They could take the cast down, which they do, and they do have the other Chrysalis. All right, now we need more removal. I think this Blood Fountain, like if we get any land, we can start using a Blood Fountain to pick these guys back up. That seems really slow. I do want to look, because if I find any removal spell, I can kill this, although we only have 2 Thraben Charms and a cast down left. If we find any blue land, though, Cryogen's better. I think we're going to get rid of the Blood Fountain. Well, that makes me regret my choice instantly. I could attack. I lose a Skyfisher. I trade the Glint Hawk. They take 4, they crack a Lembas, they go to 3. But that still means if I find a removal spell for the Chrysalis the following turn, they're dead. So I think that's worth the trade. Also, in my whole talk about the Blood Fountain, I forgot they have a spell bomb on board, so unless they get desperate enough to use it, doesn't make too much sense to have kept that, so they're going to crack the Alembus. Of course, go to 3. We got our bridge. Although now we can't kill the Chrysalis with a Thraben Charm because we lost those creatures, so we only have 1 removal spell to kill it until we find another creature. But if we just find another creature, we can probably go around it anyway. No way. They have another Chrysalis, and they hold up a black mana, so they probably have like a Cast Down or a Fanatical Offering, or just for the Spell Bomb, sure. We get a Spell Bomb. We're going to Relic. Thraben Charm, but that does not currently kill this. Well, it doesn't kill either of them. I'm just going to Spell Bomb, and I'm going to draw a card because if I get like a tap land, I'd like to play it. And I don't think these guys are really going to matter coming back. If I kill them, I probably am okay. They have a Troublemaker Oof. I'm going to suspect that takes our blue land, although it could take the Relic, which would be my preference. Goes for the bridge. They gutsy enough to attack? No. Probably for the best. Glinthawk is decent. It lets us pick up the Relic, but it also lets us have a Thraben Charm for 6 damage, assuming they don't have removal and response. Blue land, very nice. They have a Pyroblast. That is annoying. Ugh. Do I think they have a Cast Down? Because I would like to Thraben Charm this Chrysalis while they don't have much mana or anything, or many cards. They have 1 card left in hand. That's really annoying, though. I mean, we have a Cryogen next turn. I guess it's not the end of the world. Because if I can kill this, they don't have a cast. If they have a Cast Down, we'd probably just throw away the game there. But if they don't, we can kill this, and then we have lethal next turn if they don't have anything else. I think I gotta pass. Just if we don't kill this, and they also kill our Sky Fisher in response, like I just don't see us ever winning that game at that point. Oh my god, they have another one. Well, they're drawing insanely well. Luckily, they tap out a colored mana, so I can kill this one, but they're drawing insanely well. Luckily, killing that one means they probably can't attack. Well, they definitely can't attack with this. Just 1 removal spell would win us the game now. We only have 2 more with Thraben Charm and Cast Down. Let's play a Relic, but they're tapped out of colored mana, so Dust to Dust has no targets on their board. Well, I guess we've played 1 Glinthawk, 2 Glinthawks, and no refurbs. So I'm going to leave up black mana for a refurb draw, which would also be nice because they have only 1 card left in hand. Duress, I mean, I'll Duress them. They didn't play a land, so of course it's a Troublemaker Oof, but I know that. I can't attack this turn, but I can attack next turn if they play anything that's... if they show that they don't have anything else. There's the Oof. They tap out a red, interestingly. I assume they'll take the Seat, take away the blue mana, since they know we have a Cryogen. That's the only way to cut off a color. They have a refurb, of course. Wait. No, that's great. That's fine. Because I can exile their refurb and one of our lands with the Dust to Dust. And that means that they won't have the blockers, and we can get in for lethal. Metallic Rebuke, doesn't matter. Alright, yeah, exile this. We can get in for 4 flying damage. Oh, that was so close. They drew exceedingly well, but we're able to take down the match. Round 5 here, we're definitely going to keep this hand. It gets a lot worse if the Tithing Blade isn't very strong. Like if they're playing any deck where I can just Tithing Blade a bunch of creatures, it's really good. Otherwise, it's not amazing, but it's still too much value to pass up. And Cryogen changes all of that. Now, if they don't play creatures, I'm just going to be Cryogening over and over and over. We could be against more Jund or Grixis. And obviously we're just playing that Relic and value out the wazoo. Every single one of these 5 cards represents 2 additional cards. Great Furnace means probably Grixis, although they do not have a very good start, as they've cast nothing at all and have no blue mana. Unless they have a stop in our upkeep, unless they have like upkeep, Cast into the Fire in their main deck or something, then I guess their start would be a little better. They did keep a 7-card hand, so we got to ask ourselves why they kept a 7-card hand that doesn't do anything for 3 turns. Could just be like a lot of Fanatical Offering and bargain effects, so like lots of card draw, but they don't have the Wellsprings for it. Maybe a lot of removal, maybe a bunch of Enforcers that are about to come down. We are going to discard here more than likely, since we don't have any 1-mana spells to cast. I mean, we have Thoughtcast, but those draw us more cards, but that's fine. We're going to play a Skyfisher here, use our mana efficiently, pick up the Cryogen. We hit a bridge, nice. That way I don't have to use the Pachuca Bog yet. And since I'm pretty sure we're against Grixis, Fumes isn't the best card ever. They just Galvanic the Fisher, that makes sense. Fumes isn't amazing, but it does kill Refurb. It kills Krark, although we don't care about Krark that much. If they're playing Black Mage's Rod, it kills those too. I think generally I'm inclined to keep all of the card advantage, so I would keep like all the Thoughtcasts and everything here. But I think something we've already seen in the Jund matchup, and also just I've been realizing in general, is that we have so much card draw. We're going to draw more cards. Maybe I just want to keep all the removal, even if it is little pieces like a Fumes. Fumes and Tithing Blade means even if they get a refurb and a Mirror Enforcer down, Fumes can kill the refurb, Tithing Blade can kill the Enforcer. So, and obviously we don't want to get rid of a land here. This is all so much value. I think we just get rid of a Thoughtcast, crazy as it is. They have a Vault and 4 mana for a Kitchen Imp. Not what I was expecting. Okay, is this just Rakdos Madness instead? It's just all artifact lands, obviously for the Galvanic, and just nothing else. Not at all what I was expecting. Okay, well we have Tithing Blade to kill that if we want. We also have a Refurb and a Glint Hawk. And Bojuka Bog can be pretty decent in this match. Let's Refurb first. Make him discard a card. It's a snacker. Okay, it is Rakdos Madness. They don't play Galvanic Blast as much as they used to, so I just wasn't sure about that. I think I'm just gonna Glint Hawk, refurb them again, and then Bojuka Bog. Take away their cards. We have blockers for the Kitchen Imp, and Snacker's not coming back. I mean, they clearly... I mean, they're a burn and aggro deck. I figured if they're mid-range, you know, they could keep a hand that's a little slow. But if they're a burn deck, they're in a tough spot already. They do find to grab the prize with an Alms of the Vein. I mean, we could still definitely die here if all we get is card draw. We will certainly trade off. I might as well keep the refurb around in case I want to make them discard another card, which I'm not going to do while they have a mana up, obviously. I will say with them playing all these artifact lands, our Dust to Dust gets to be brought in this match when sometimes it would not be, and that could be a nice way to snipe a game. If I draw something irrelevant, I probably just Cryogen Skyfisher. It draws us 2 while deploying more creatures, so we can try to race them. We are still at 13. Like the way that Alms of the Vein grabbed the prize and 1 hit from a Kitchen Imp has just dealt us 7 damage. Like, you know, they only have 3 cards, but we could still die for sure. I would love to find our one of Compass in the main deck, play the Cryogen. We get a Swamp. Can't play anything additional with that though, so I'll just play the Skyfisher. I mean, I guess I could replay the Refurb, but again, I don't want to do that while they have mana open, although now we get another Refurb. I still think we're not going to play that right now. I think we're going to wait on that. The Galvanic Blast us down to 9. Epicure, Blood and Alms of the Vein. I mean, I guess we're a slow deck too, but they had what I would call a pretty bad start, and we're still already at 5-4 with the Jagged Barons. So I guess we need to find a Compass as fast as possible, of which we only have 1. I don't think we have any other life gain in the deck. Metallic Rebukes could also counter some stuff, maybe. We're just going to Thoughtcast. Maybe I couldn't have done it this turn. Maybe I should just try to flip this Tithing Blade in case we somehow hold on at 4 mana here. Let's play a Cryogen. There's a Rebuke, although I used all my blue mana already. I'm going to attack. We're going to Refurb. If they have a Madness card, they get to cast it, which is unfortunate, but it still is removing a card from them. And now if they get like a Faithless or something, then it's 1 fewer card to discard. We have an Enforcer. I can't hold this up. I could Glint Hawk for the aggro, or I could just Tithing Blade for the flip potential. I think we just go for the Glint Hawk actually on the Relic, in which case I probably should have played a tap land, but I mean, we die to a Galvanic Blast. We have already seen 2 of those. They top deck a Faithless Looting. They find a Fiery Temper. That puts us to 1. They're out of cards, but we are at 1 life. Compass. Raven's Crime. Little late. Well, I'm gonna play a Relic, Bauble. Rebuke can, if they flashback Faithless and then try to Madness something, Rebuke can prevent that thing. If they try to Madness 2 things, then we're gonna die. I think we just Bauble, make sure to hit for everything. I should leave back a blocker in case they have a Kitchen Imp. This is still a 2-turn clock. If they have 2 Kitchen Imps, we have a Rebuke for it. I didn't play a land because I got flustered that we're at 1 life. There's a Faithless Looting. I could counter this. Oh, do I counter this? If they just have a burn spell, we die. If they have a burn spell, would they not have just gone for it? If this finds 2 burn spells, we're gonna lose. I mean, this is 2 hits as opposed to the 1 hit in their hand. I think we gotta counter this. Like, it's basically just 1 draw that they have in hand versus okay, we won. Versus the 2 draws they get off of that. That was super close. Again, despite their very slow start, it was crazy close. We do get Dust to Dust, as mentioned. Blue Blast, of course. Very Macabre. I don't even hate Duress. Obviously, Compass is coming in. Pretty much all our single target removal is not very good. We can take all this out. Thraben Charm does hit Graveyard, but I think Macabre being free is even better. Raven's Crime can come out. And Grim Bauble does pick off any of their creatures. It's not terrible. Blood Fountain doesn't feel very good. I think I'd prefer Duress. Honestly, Last Rites might not be terrible. I know it seems weird, but like, they're a deck that keeps cards in their hand, and obviously they can Madness stuff, but if they tap out, have 5 cards in their hand, and on turn 3, we can just like Last Rites, get rid of both of our hands, but our top decks are way better. I think that might be worth it over like this Bauble. Or actually, I kind of like Bauble better than Spell Bomb. No, I mean, this could kill a Kitchenette, but ideally we have flyers for that. Where Spell Bomb can be put on the field turn 1 and try to prevent snackers and things. We're going to give this a try. Maybe the last rights could just be this other Bauble or Spell Bomb or something, but I think this is okay. This is decent. Compass is good. Fixes our mana. We're going to keep, and we're probably going to duress turn 1 to try to make it so that we don't get cast into the fire or, you know, get a draw 2 or something. And then we compass the following turn. Let's just duress. 1, grab the prize. They have a duress, so they can take whatever they want, which is kind of tough, but I think we got to take the grab the prize. It's just too good. If they take compass, then we get a relic down. If they take relic, then we have a compass, is my thought process. So both of these are really bad for them. They take the relic. I think that makes sense. They play the Epicure, Great Furnace. We top deck a Glint Hawk, so I can just play a Glint Hawk, play the compass, make this white, play the Glint Hawk, pick it back up. Oh, and I took the grab. That means we're not getting blue down for this bridge for next turn. We also can't then play this and then Skyfisher the following turn. It does let us block here, or they have to shoot this. It's pretty close, but I think it's better to do it this way because this way I can like Thought Cast, then Glint Hawk and Compass again the next turn. I kind of like that. They find a grab the prize, discard a Faithless. Furnace, obviously Dust to Dust would be great, but we also do need to find more bridges, or rather white sources. I think because of the possibility of Dust to Dust, I'm going to play this bridge, then Thought Cast, and then I won't replay the Compass this turn, but I don't need to. We can't hold up Rebuke regardless, so let's just turn this into a Plains. But yeah, I don't need to replay the Compass this turn because I think the chances they deal us 19 damage are pretty low. But I have it for next turn, then I can play that, play Skyfisher, they do bolt it, and they plot a Highway Robbery. Spell Bomb is pretty good. They do have a Faithless Looting in there, so Compass, Spell Bomb, then I can hold up Rebuke. Am I going to rebuke this Robbery? Probably. We want to deny their card draw. It's unfortunate it's not a 2-for-1. I think it's still pretty good, and if I crack the Spell Bomb now, I can't hold up Rebuke, but also if I go for a Rebuke, I don't know what I'm saying. I think if they go for the Faithless Looting, they don't have lands to Madness anything. They do go for the Faithless Looting. I'm just going to let that go. Since they can't Madness anything, if they want to fill the graveyard with Snackers, that's fine with the Spell Bomb. They do put a Snacker in there. And I think I will just blow this up to draw a card because we're a little low on cards. Getting a Snacker is pretty decent. Well, knowing we were drawing a Bog, maybe I should have kept it, but Glint Hawk is good. Let's make this a white source. Plains, tap these, play the Skyfisher, pick this up, play a Vault, play it again, and now I can hold up Rebuke. This is a little less aggressive, but I'm not going to counter a Blast on this or whatever, but I'm going to counter any card draw they have. Oh, I can't counter this one, actually, because this was the plotted one. I'll counter any other card draw they have. I guess this could get a Snacker or something. It'd be kind of unfortunate. Yeah, this is why I wish I had done the Bog, or I had the Bog for the other thing. Now maybe I want a flyer for this. They have 4 cards in hand still because they just drew 2. That's crazy. I guess we'll let that go and then just try to keep this up for more card draw and stuff. Although if they get one more land, I won't be able to anymore. Glint Hawk is good. We should do it this way. I mean, we're not getting a ton of value at this point, which is unfortunate, but obviously keeping our life total high is nice. I almost don't want to play this other one just because I do want to hold it for like Cryogen or something though. Plus obviously we want to hold up Rebuke. I also don't think I need to play this Bajuka Bog until I get a little bit of value. Like I'll trade these off, can maybe counter a draw 2 and then Bajuka Bog away the Snacker, something like that. Alms of the Vein is fine. I mean, if they attack with both, I'll block the Epicure. If they just bolt this, that works too. Come on, Cryogen off the top. They go for a Vampire's Kiss. I mean, it's not a 2-for-1, but it's basically a draw 2. We'll take that. Also, I think I was pretty obvious that we had the Rebuke, so I don't think I'm going to get something much better. I mean, I kind of want to just keep holding this for the value, but I got to play it at some point. I can't take too much more damage. They just Galvanic in response. I mean, they have 1 card left and a pretty slow clock given our life total. Now they Vampire's Kiss again. Alms of the Vein. That's pretty good for them. I mean, we have a lot of good hits. Thoughtcast, Cryogen Relics are our best ones into other things, obviously. We'll take 3. Last Rites. Well, this was not the time I wanted it. I could take their 1 card, maybe, if I discard both of mine. That does not seem very good. Probably just proving to me that I shouldn't have this. This could have been a Spell Bomb, which would have at least drawn us a new card. After all of that, I'm still at 11, dying pretty quick. Pitch a Vault. Blue Blast is okay, but it's not amazing. I think we just pass. Where's my card draw? They grab the prize with an Alms of the Vein. I will obviously counter the grab the prize. We're all the way down to 5, though. If we don't get something good here, we're pretty much dead. I mean, Refurb takes a card and blocks. I guess it's okay. I will pass. I will trade with the Snacker, hope we don't die to a Galvanic, hope they don't have a way to get it back, then I can Bojuka Bog it, and I can draw some card draw into, well, just a Skyfisher's not bad. I would love card draw first, but I will take it. That's a blocker, it puts me back to 7. They play a bridge. Dust to Dust is a bad draw at this point. I mean, we got a Compass, going back up. I'm not attacking, I'm not going to trade 2 for 1 while we're at a third of their life total, or pretty much at all in this match. Fiery Temper hard cast, that's annoying. They get in for 1, we get a bridge. I don't think there's a reason to sandbag it. We already have a card to discard if we find... I guess sandbagging it for the last rights could be decent, but like, they're going to be playing pretty much everything they have. Faithless into 2 lands is decent for us. For 1, Ancient Den. On the off chance that we hit just a huge string of card draw, we're going to keep playing our lands. They're going to flashback Faithless. No, they just have a Grab the Prize with a Duress. And an Epicure. Attack for 1. Blue Blast. We drew way too much of our sideboard. We didn't cut any card draw, for the record, but we drew a ton of sideboard cards and not a lot of our card draw. Flashback Faithless. I mean, I think we counter that for all the good it'll do. Take 2. Another Epicure. And just drawing absolutely terribly. All right. Last Rites might not have been the pick to bring in, I admit that, but I don't think that Last Rites being something else would have dramatically changed that game. I mean, obviously, like a Suffocating Fumes looks decent on that board or with the Snackers, but I guess we'd probably just bring in the Spell Bomb. I guess they are having to use... I guess Blood Fountain would have been pretty good. They were having to use a ton of spells on our creatures. We still wouldn't have had value, but we would have had creatures back, and then we could have gained some more life off of them. Let's try those 2 in. This one looks... okay. It's not amazing because of this familiar just giving them free madnesses maybe, but they'll probably play a tap land on turn 2 and then we can take a card from them and then it'll be fine, I guess. Ideally. They mulligan once, play Barons. Ugh, I'm already feeling the flood. They discard a Snacker. Faithless Looting. Great. I love Refurb just giving our opponent free value. I don't think these are bad enough to cut, but it is kind of annoying. Cryogen. I can't play that and hold up Rebuke. I would like to use this over using the Refurb over and over, so let's just play it. I gotta hold up for a blocker. They Galvanic Blast it. Jagged Barons. Down to 13. Play a Skyfisher. They Pyroblast this in response? No. Okay. Thinking about it. Back up. Should I just play Cryogen or should I play another Skyfisher as a blocker? I think we just don't do anything if we don't have the Cryogen down. If they do have the Pyroblast, I feel like they should have used it before, but if they want to use it now, that's fine. Yeah, they could have just made me bounce a land instead. But I would have been able to cast something else, to be fair. I could have cast the other Skyfishers. Probably their thought, I guess. I don't know. I'm fine with that, I think. Swing for 2. Fairy Macabre. They have a Faithless Looting in the graveyard. I could just cast a Fairy Macabre. We're going to play a Skyfisher, pick up the Vault, and they weren't drawing 2 before. I'm going to cast this. I just think if they bolt the Skyfisher and get in for another 2, I'd rather prevent that. If they bolt this, if they then attack and we trade and then they have the draw 2, it's kind of annoying. Well, they just Galvanic Blast this anyway, so I'm fine with that. I feel like based on how these games went, we should have been able to win. I mean, we haven't lost yet, but we're pretty dang close. But we've just drawn terribly, it feels like. Flashback of Faithless Looting. I guess we'll counter that. Dust to Dust. Way too late, and... I mean, of course, this is the one game where they only have 1 artifact land. I think it's still worth it to take away a land, but obviously this is not really how you want to be using it or when. Now they have the Grab the Prize and a Jagged Barons and a Skyfisher. That is really frustrating. All right, round 6 here, and Against has been playing a lot of Black Sack, so that's what I'm anticipating. This hand can play Glinthawks over and over and over, and that's it, so that's not very good. This one is even worse. This one is not very good either, to be honest, but I think we'll be forced to keep it. We do have a Tithing Blade, so if they, that's probably not very good, but theoretically it could catch something. Thraben Charm's not great. I think we just keep. I mean, these are very unlikely to kill the creatures we need it to. I think we just keep these because, like, Blood Fountain can be decent if we start jumping, but also can get an Enforcer down. If we have blue, we can do Relic. Okay, they're on something different. Contaminated Aquifer means Dimir Faeries, Dimir Terror, Dimir Control. That might be better. That means maybe I wanted to keep one of the Thraben Charms, but this might actually be better for us in general because that means I was worried about getting stomped very quickly by Black Sack, and now it looks like maybe not. Dimir Faeries. Okay. Tithing Blade's going to be decent here, obviously. We're still not in a great spot, but Razor Tide Bridge. I think I have to Tithing Blade to make sure a Ninja does not happen, as much as I'd like to get down to Razor Tide Bridge so we can get a Cryogen Relic going. There's a Preordain. Scry one to the top. Cycle a Lorien for an island. No Fairy Seer, those nice. Play a bridge, and I don't think I want to get this Blood Fountain Spell Pierced today, so I think we'll wait on that. They cycle another Lorien and just slam Monarch. Yep, we are dying to a lot of Monarchs today, aren't we? Thoughtcast is good. Probably better than Cryogen, because if I find a Glint Hawk, I kind of just want to re-Tithing Blade. Let's just Thoughtcast. Refurb. Refurb's going to be 5, 6, so I can Refurb and Enforcer. That's not bad. Then if I can find Glint Hawk or Skyfisher, we can Tithing Blade this guy away maybe. They have the Snuff Out for the Enforcer and just the Cast Down for the Refurb. Okay. And they have a Ninja. Oh my god. Everyone always has everything they need. I guess I can Blood Fountain back both of these two creatures, which is not bad. But I can't actually cast the Refurb this turn. I could do one Enforcer. In that case, I think it's better to just play the Cryogen, probably. Get Enforcer anyway. I could stun this, because if they kill the Mere Enforcer, I'd rather this doesn't untap. We already have a Tithing Blade to pick up. Yeah, let's stun this. Definitely, part of me wants to leave it on the field, but I think making sure this doesn't connect is pretty important. If they kill this, at least we can double Blood Fountain, ideally. Like double Mere Enforcer, that is, or maybe Mere Enforcer and a Refurb. This also means they can't chump if they wanted to do that. With this guy. Scry 2 to the bottom. Another Snuff Out. I think we're going to get a Refurb and a Mere Enforcer here. Play the Refurb. That gets counterspelled. Play an Enforcer. Play a Spell Bomb. Brainstorm. There's a Cast Down. Swing for 3. Metallic Rebuke. We will draw a card here. It's a land. I will discard a land here for a Glint Hawk. For a Glint Hawk, we will cast the Glint Hawk. If they have a Spell Stutter or Counterspell, then I can just Rebuke it. Then I can Tithing Blade them. They swing. I simply have to take it. I think I have to take the Monarch, although with them having 5 cards in hand, I can't imagine even taking the Monarch does that much for us at this point, unless I just top deck. If they have mostly lands or whatever, nope, another Snuff Out, then we could like Thoughtcast into all the right stuff. I mean, there's a Thoughtcast. Let's see if it resolves. It does not. Duress and Last Rites is what I did before with Raven Charms, because it's worse Cast Down. Although maybe just any Cast Down is worth it. I guess Compass is probably worse. I do like Raven's Crime, though. I think this is decent. We have another one-lander. I mean, double metallic. This is not good. I don't think we can keep this hand. This is better. Luckily, we don't really have to sweat the artifact lands unless they start steel sabotaging them. Do I just keep 2 lands? I feel like getting rid of any of these spells is just not very good. So I'm going to get a little greedy here, but 2 mulligans to 5 does not instill me with confidence that we're going to win this one. I could Relic. It gets Spell Pierced and annulled. I guess we will lead with a Refurb. Since it dodges, at least the Spell Pierces. Cycle a Lorien in response. For an Aquifer, which they discard. Swing for 2. Ugh, 2 mana. I mean, that could be Counterspell, that could be Annul, that could be anything. Really, the only thing I want to cast here is a Relic. It just gets countered, so let's not cast anything at all. I have an Aquifer, a Vault, swing. Now I will Skyfisher, because I can replay the Refurb. If they want to Counterspell, I can live with that, I think. That's fine. Pick this up, and we'll cast that. They Counterspell it. Play an island, just cast a Moon-Circuit Hacker. Snuff Out is interesting. Duress. We Duress and it gets Spell Pierced. Not Spell Pierced, it gets Spell Stuttered. But then I can Grim Bauble and Glint Hawk. So I guess that's worth it. And if it doesn't, okay, we have Cast Down a Ninja. That's why they cast this Ninja. So take the Spell Pierce. Then I can Grim Bauble this. And I don't care too much about Cast Down until they get a Thorn of the Black Rose, which they probably will right away. Yeah, I definitely want to Grim Bauble this, though. I would like to play the Relic. I don't think I'm going to pick this up with the Hawk yet. If they, like, cast Ninja next turn, then I probably will. But if they don't, then it's not as important. And I'd like to have this Relic down first. That's decent. Ideally, Relic resolves. I should have played the Ancient Den, so I dodge another Spell Pierce. That's going to hurt if they have it. And just a Counterspell is going to get me regardless. Going to play an Ancient Den, but again, I'm not going to bounce this yet. I don't need a 2/2 attacking. I mean, I guess since they're at 12, it's not terrible. But they have a Cast Down to kill it. But I'm going to wait until they do this. Yeah. Or I could just Tithing Blade it. Then I still keep the Glint Hawk. This could kill, like, Augur. Theoretically, a Murmuring Mystic if they have that. That's a little better for those reasons. But keeping the Hawk for a future Relic could be really good. If they get a Monarch, though, at least they have to Cast Down before they play the Thorn. I think we'll go for the Glint Hawk. Whereas if I don't play it, then they get Thorn, and then, oh, then I'll play the Glint Hawk, and then they cast down, then I'm really behind. So I think having a creature on the field is pretty important to not get Monarched out again. It just hard cast a Snuff Out. Bajuka Bog, I mean, if they do play Gurmag Anglers, which a lot of lists do, then it's not a terrible draw. Monarch is going to be pretty brutal for us, though. There's an Augur. For this reason, better that we have the Tithing Blade. They whiff on the Augur, which is nice. I'm going to crack the Bauble, because we got to find something. We don't need a seat. Do I want an Enforcer knowing that they just have a cast down? Probably not. I'd rather draw into more draw spells to get ahead of them. Skyfisher's decent. Tithing Blade the Augur. I will just play the Skyfisher. Same reasons as before. If they got a Monarch or something, I want to have a creature on the field. I guess the fact that they have the cast down up now negates that a little bit. But also I would like to, I don't mind bouncing the Tithing Blade because this can prevent a ninja if they play any creature. Of course, they know that it's what we have, so they're not going to just play out one creature. They're going to wait until they have two or something. Preordain into Brainstorm. Thoughtcast is good. Hopefully it resolves. Does. Raven's Crime can take their last two cards. They just Brainstorms too, so they might just be top decking cards that they don't want even. Unless they have a Lorien or something here. We don't... I mean, another blue wouldn't be terrible here. They spell Stutter. Okay, it's not the worst thing ever. It still takes a card and I get to Tithing this away. I will Raven's Crime. I wouldn't mind another blue mana here, obviously, but I think taking their last card's pretty good. It's a Spell Pierce, not the worst thing ever, or best thing ever either. But Tithing this away is pretty decent. They're drawing two cards they know about. That's not necessarily good or bad. Like a Fairy Seer is not a bad one, and they can get rid of the other if they really want, which they do, both to the bottom. Blood Fountain's pretty decent. That's actually very good. I'm not going to use it yet. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I couldn't play an Enforcer even if I wanted, and I might not know exactly what I want to bring back. Fairy Seer sets them up nicely, but they have no cards and just 2 1/1s, and they concede. I guess they didn't like the Scry, but also the Blood Fountain can pick up 2 Skyfishers or Glint Hawk or something, plus I have a Tithing Blade to clear their guys, so definitely in a decent spot there. Let's see what we can do in the game 3. All these one-landers is definitely making me consider a 21st land, but I've also been flooded a few games this league, or challenge rather. We're going to keep this one. This swamp is kind of annoying. The fact that it's not blue or even just an artifact, but 1, 2, 3, 4. It's gotta just be the Mirror Enforcer. Part of me thinks it's the Cryogen, where I just kind of go like fast-ish, but the Mirror Enforcer is still not coming down super early. I think it's gotta be the Enforcer. Seems like they have perfect 7s every time. Let's cry 2 to the top. Grim Bauble's a pretty nice draw. I was already gonna play the Blood Fountain turn 1 so that I couldn't get spell stuttered, and then I could bridge and refurb turn 2. Grim Bauble's definitely gonna be the play though, because we don't want a ninja coming down. It doesn't mean we can. It means we cannot play a refurb this next turn, which is unfortunate, but we just got to get rid of that. We'll play a bridge. I'm not going to play a Blood Fountain into a Spell Stutter. I'm not going to play a Duress into a Spell Stutter. At the very least, next turn I can Duress. Yeah. They have the Spell Stutter, which is annoying because that means they have a ninja, but at least next turn I can Duress to like make it so a refurb will resolve or something. Maybe a Glint Hawk. Another island. I wish I had a Snuff Out right now. There's a ninja. If I get an untapped land, I guess it would need to be white or black, but I could Duress, Glint Hawk, Bauble, because they could have a Spell Pierce for the Bauble. I don't know. Land is just what we want anyway. Refurb. Ugh. We know they have a Spell Stutter, so I could Blood Fountain here. Spell Pierce means I could just Glint Hawk back the Bauble. I could just Glint Hawk back the Bauble, but that still gets Spell Pierced. Duress gets Spell Pierced as well. Then I'm bobbling anyway. I think we're going to go for the Duress. If it doesn't get Spell Pierced, the info can be really crucial here. It does. So I can't play a refurb, and I need to have some blocker for this, so it's going to be the Glint Hawk. Picking up the Bauble's not bad. I just wish I could play it right away. It also does set back our refurbs from coming down. They have an Aquifer, so that means Snuff Out is probably coming. No? Okay, that's good. Another Duress. Obviously, we know about Spell Stutter. Like a Duress, they Spell Stutter it, and then I get to Grim Bauble. Not terrible. I mean, it is a 2-for-1 in their favor, but it's pretty important we get the ninja off the field. I kind of want a Blood Fountain, and if they Spell Stutter it, then I can Bauble, assuming they don't have a Spell Pierce. But if they don't Spell Stutter it because they know about the Bauble, then we can get a refurb down. I think we're going to do that. It's bait, because if all they have is a Spell Stutter, they don't want the Bauble to resolve, so they might just let this go, but then we get a refurb, which is 2 blockers, more value. They could also just have a counterspell. That one gets through. So now we're going to go for the refurb. And that resolves as well. Yeah, this is way better than anything getting Spell Stuttered. Discard another ninja. There's no way we're attacking. We know they don't have Snuff Out because they would have used it on the Glint Hawk and then attacked with the ninja. They could have a cast down because they they had a tapped black land there, but they can't have 2 here, probably. Augur, that's a Brainstorm. They use it now, they're going to be tapped out of Spell Stutter, so that's not likely to happen. Land is good. I could Duress to bait for the bauble, but I think we can just get another Refurb down and just hold these for now. They discard the Brainstorm. I could attack with a Refurb for 2, but the damage is not super relevant. Then if they have any removal spell for this, they can get in with another Ninja, so that seems bad. So let's just pass. We know they have Spell Stutter and 2 other cards. They're going to cast down a Refurb. I wish Duress was instant speed. Obviously, that'd be kind of crazy, though. And also, they only have 1 other card, so might not hit anything. There's a Preordain. One to the top, Fairy Seer. So Spell Stutter hits 2 drops now. Although I could Bauble, which baits it. And if they don't take the bait and I kill the Fairy Seer, then it won't counter 2 drops, so then I can get a Relic down. If they do just counter it, I can get Relic down, but then they have 4 creatures on board. That's kind of rough. Although they're almost out of cards. They scry 2 to the top, though. That's very scary. The question is, do I want to Blood Token anything away here? I think probably not. These cards are all pretty decent, but I also really need like a cast down to be really good, because then we could like Cryogen, cast down. That doesn't quite do it, though. We need another mana too. I think we got to keep these. Skyfisher gets countered, so I mean I could Duress and they could just let it go if they don't have another spell, but if they do, they'll probably Spell Stutter it, and then I can get a Relic down or a Skyfisher. I think now is the time to Duress. I guess it's pretty bad if they don't Spell Stutter. Like if they just don't if they have 2 Spell Stutters, then it's a waste, but they do. So now I can Skyfisher, pick up our Swamp, play it, and Bauble, I think, because they topped 2, so if one of them's like a Monarch here, then our board is looking kind of rough to get in. I guess they Monarch and then I can Bauble, Spell Stutter, and I can get in. That's not quite true, but they could like cast down and then they're getting in if they have cast down Ninja. Although if they have Ninja now, they would have let the Duress go through, I think I want to get this Skyfisher down pretty badly. Just as another blocker, it makes it very hard for them to Monarch. It makes it very hard for them to Ninja, which are 2 of the main ways they can pull ahead. Also, it allows me to Bauble here. Like, I could just pick up Refurb for the value. That's pretty good, but the question is, what do I want to Bauble? Because obviously Ninja's the best creature here, but if a Spell Stutter ever gets picked up, that's probably the best creature, but I have 3 blockers for the Spell Stutter. I have 3 blockers for the Ninja. Do I even need to kill one of these creatures? I guess not, technically. I guess it's probably the Spell Stutter because it's a flyer, because our stuff can't get blocked by them in case of Monarch or something. I'm not picking up the Refurb, though, because then they like cast down the Skyfisher, attack with everything, have a Ninja. It's kind of rough. Theoretically, they could have cast down in hand and then Ninja on top. I think Grim Bobbling, the Spell Stutter Sprite, is our best course of action. It also reduces the fairy count for if they have another Spell Stutter. So like if they maybe we're able to kill the Fairy Seer at some point, or like a Suffocating Fumes is a 3-drop. Them not having a 3-drop fairy. Spell Stutter Sprite's pretty good. Alright, we'll pick up the Swamp, and we will Bauble away the Spell Stutter. And we will not attack. They don't attack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 artifacts. I think they probably have a counter spell. I think I'm just going to play Mirror Enforcer. If they counter it, then maybe I can go for a Relic. If they don't counter it, then maybe I can start attacking for 4. And if it gets countered, I can also just, well, when we hit more lands, I can bring it back with a Blood Fountain, ideally. Yeah, I think we'll just let that go then. I don't want to tap out. I don't want, like, we don't really have anything to do, but I don't want to tap out. I don't want to show them that we have nothing. And I also don't want the Cryogen to be countered, especially against, like, a Spell Stutter. There's another Seer. Scry 2 to the top. Cast a Moon Circuit Hacker. Okay. That makes me a little more hesitant to play the Enforcer, although we can play this Cryogen unless they have a Spell Pierce, which would be unfortunate, but I think we're going to go for it while they're tapped low enough they don't have other counter spells. Okay, that just works. And we get a Seat. So do I want to attack for 4? Because then they could have like a removal spell. They get in with their hacker. I don't think that's good. I think we play the bridge and we just pass. I think now I mean, they just topped 2, so I don't want to be too overconfident, but I think we're in a decent spot. Blood Fountain's now going to be online. Cryogen's decent. They just have a Lorien. That's pretty bad, we'll admit. Puts them at, I guess just 3 cards in hand isn't the worst ever, but it's a lot. I think we want lands, so I don't want to Blood Token this away unless we draw like another land here. Glinthawk is phenomenal. They have 3 cards, so there's no reason to go after their cards with the Refurb, but we can catch up to them in value with this Cryogen. I could also just start bobbling down their creatures. I don't think that's the move quite yet. Also, Refurb is a great draw. Seat is fine. I think this time we can attack for just a little bit. Maybe I should attack with the Enforcer because it's more damage and it doesn't block flying. Yeah, probably should have done that. They discard an island. They have another Lorien. Okay. I mean, they're getting a lot of value and another Fairy Seer. A lot of value for sure. They are tapping out, which is nice for us. I think we're going to bin this Seat. Not only is it a land that we don't need, but also if we want more black mana, if we want more lands, we want more black mana because we only have 2 right now. Skyfisher is fantastic. They did scry 2 to the bottom. That's nice. Oh, Thought Cast 2. Okay, things are going well, I think. Suffocating Fumes would be an insane draw for the record. That is an option we have. I honestly think that it's a good enough reason to just draw first here, because if we Suffocating Fumes, we pretty much win the game, I think. Pick up the Relic. Tithing Blade's okay. I think I'm just gonna... Well, I might Tithing Blade. Let's attack. They have 6 creatures. We have 7, so I can attack with this one. I'm also going to play a Refurb, so that's another one. So I think I'll attack with a Refurb. I'm happy if they want to trade this off because I can buy it back with the Blood Fountain. Also, it reduces the fairy count a little bit. Yeah, I want to get rid of their creatures. I think I will Tithing Blade. It leaves the Cryogen open to getting countered. Maybe that's worse. Yeah, actually, I think we're safe for this turn. We can Tithing next turn. Let's just draw another card. Bojuka Bog is a little annoying. For sure. We did trade off that Refurb with the intention of buying them back. We still have plenty of creatures on the board that'll die at some point. Mystic's pretty bad. They have Counterspell mana up too. But I think maybe we should have been doing this already. They only have 2 flyers. We should just attack with all of our flyers. Cast down's pretty good too. I'm not going to do that right now because then if they have a Counterspell, they make a bird before attacks. But we're just going to attack with everything. And if they want to if they want to block the 2 Refurbs, we still get in for 8. We can buy them both back, play them to make them discard their cards. They double block a Glint Hawk instead. That's totally fine. So they're going to go down to 4, and I'm going to Tithing Blade because if they want to counter this, then I can cast down the Mystic. They now don't have Spell Stutter up since they lost to Fairy Seers, and we're going to still cast down the Mystic in their upkeep, although flipping a Tithing Blade might make the most sense here, but theoretically if they just draw like 4 cantrips, they can make enough guys to survive. If they have the Counterspell here, at least they make a bird that can't attack. All right. That was a close one, for sure. Those Lorians looked a little scary, but honestly, I think they were the best thing for us. Like, they had to cast them. They had nothing else going on. But them tapping out just to draw a couple cards while we got to, without counterspells up, we got to draw a bunch of cards ourselves while deploying creatures put us way ahead. All right, we're on the play here in round 7, and I think this hand's a keep. Obviously, we're missing black mana and also artifacts to bounce, but I feel like there's just so much potential value here that it's kind of hard to mulligan this. If we hit a Cryogen Relic, we're just in a great spot. Worst case scenario, we're casting a Thought Cast for 2 mana on turn 3. Not great. I mean, that's worst case for us. Worst case for what they're doing would be like a Red Rally or something where I'm not currently prepared to battle that. But we're also on the play, so that helps things a little bit. And they're on Black Sack. I mean, Black Sack is similar to the Red Rally in that, like, we're not really prepared to battle it at the moment. However, we top-decked the Cryogen Relic, so we could still be a little too slow to be able to really deal with them, but we at least have the ability to play these guys pretty quickly and draw a bunch of cards. Tithing Blade, not the most effective in this matchup. I think this match is not about value, so I'm going to have to discard some cards here, but I think that's fine. It's about speed, so I need to find what I want pretty quickly. So for that reason, I'm going to Thought Cast and then Glint Hawk. We find black mana and a Refurb, that's pretty good. But I'm also going to Glint Hawk, so I have a blocker here. There's always a possibility with a Blood Throne that I could die on turn 3, so just having a blocker for it's nice. And I do think I'm going to keep the Tithing Blade, because there's a possibility that if we get them to, like, sack enough things, we could, like, kill something with it. I think I'm going to get rid of this land, since it's tap land. I already have my next land set up, plus a lot more card draw. There's a Beetle. That's tough. And a Marauder. Yep. Beetle's going to grow 2. We lose our Glint Hawk. I mean, if we're lucky, they sack both of these to go in on the Vampire, but they should probably just attack for 2, which they do. They only have 3 cards in hand. So I could Refurb Glint Hawk, and with the Glint Hawk on the field before it bounces the Refurb, I could Thraben Charm for 4 damage to either the Beetle or the Vampire. That means if they want to keep it alive, they have to sacrifice both halves of the Infestation Sage, which makes the Vampire worse, plus it makes our Tithing Blade better later. We're also discarding a card. I think that's probably our best bet. I could also just keep both creatures on the field and, like, bounce a land. I don't really love that. They are on Beckoner, the Beckoner version. I could also obviously just Cryogen and Glint Hawk, and then we have 2 blockers, plus we draw more cards. Yeah, I guess that might be better. Thraben Charm, like, hitting a Beetle. They sack this twice. But then they have a 5/5 Beetle. We only have 1 creature, so if they kill it, we take a lot. We're not quite dead. I don't know. Tough call. Get a Vault of Whispers. That's not bad. That allows us to double Tithing Blade next turn. No, I guess not, because I'm playing the Glint Hawk here. And Skyfisher is... That would be 6 mana I would need total. So not unless we get another Glint Hawk can I double Tithing. They have a Corrupted Conviction. All right, here's where we need them to whiff pretty badly. 2 Swamps is our best thing here. Rebuke's a nice draw for us because we could try, we could like hold that up so we never die to a Rite of Consumption, unless we die right here, obviously. Village Rites on the other insects, pretty decent. There's a swamp and another vampire. Okay, Tithing Blade hits something relevant. Plus, attack for 5. I kind of want to take it, and then I can Core Skyfisher, bounce the Refurb, replay it, and Thraben Charm the Beetle for 6 damage. It'll die unless they sack both vampires, but if I go to 12 here, and they have 2 vampires, I feel like we're pretty safe from a Rite then. They would have to have, like, Nested Shambler Stamina specifically. I think I'm going to take 5. Mirror Enforcer. Okay, wait, that changes things a little bit maybe. Play a land, because this is 6. So I could Tithing Blade to make him lose a vampire. Then I could play an Enforcer for free. But then I try to shoot the Beetle, and they probably just keep it alive with the vampire by sacking it to itself. But then they've lost 2 vampires. They have a 7/7. Next turn I can Tithing Blade. Well, I can't Tithing Blade to get rid of the Beetle probably. I could just Enforcer, Thraben Charm. 7/7 Beetle could be a problem if they can get it big enough. But if we have Rebuke up, no, yeah, I think I need to kill the Beetle, which means I think I need to do the original thing of, I could just cast Enforcer for 1, then I can Thraben Charm it, then I can hold up a Rebuke. I kind of like that. So let's deal 6 damage. I mean, I could also play a Skyfisher and then deal 8 to, like, definitively kill the Beetle. Is that better? Maybe, because then I don't need to hold up a Rebuke. Unless they get the combo. Yeah, I think we're just going to do this. I think if they want to sacrifice both of their vampires to keep this alive, that's fine by me. And then I could just Tithing Blade, or I could hold up Rebuke. If they have Nested Shambler, Stamina, and Rite of Consumption, or Shambler, Swamp, Beckoner, Rite of Consumption, that would be lethal with a Blood Throne. So I'd want to hold up a Rebuke against that. Otherwise, it kind of makes sense to Tithing. They're going to think through their options, whether they want to keep this Beetle alive. Although I would much prefer they keep the Beetle alive, because then I'll just Tithing Blade. They have nothing, and I'm in a great spot. They just concede. Okay, well, I tanked over that for a while. They definitely needed the Beetle. I agreed with them on that, but I wasn't sure we were going to definitely win. Obviously, I was saying if they have these perfect 3 cards. Clearly, they did not. That's pretty good for us. We don't have the best sideboard here. Shrivel is okay if we can use it in the right time, but that's kind of it. Like, Spell Bomb or Fairy Macabre can hit a Stamina or Beckonered creature. Seeing as they're also playing Beckoner, I think Macabre might actually be okay, because if they try to scam the Beckoner, it's kind of decent. Is anything bad? Tithing Blade is bad. It looked okay there, but generally it's not going to be very good. Raven's Crime's not good. I think I'd prefer Fairy Macabre over Spell Bomb, and Grimbauble can be decent. Compass, not so much. It can fix our mana if we have an awkward start, but I think it's probably better to just do this. Yeah, let's give that a try. This hand looks pretty decent. We obviously need some artifacts other than our lands, but we have our mana. They're not a deck that's going to be able to interact with our mana, which is nice, and we have a cast down, which is good. Shrivel's also nice, because if we can Shrivel to wipe all the board away, and then cast down to kill the grower, we're in a pretty decent spot. Attack for 1, it looks like a Village Rites or Conviction. Make a treasure and draw 2. Obviously the best thing for us here is if they whiff on a second land, they play an Infestation Sage, and they do, and we hit the Cryogen. Well, that's pretty good for us. Let's just do that. Since they're missing lands, I don't really need to Shrivel. I don't need to Shrivel for this 1/1 anyway. They play another Infestation Sage, swing for 1. We get a Bojuka Bog. Let's just Glint Hawk. Oh, I should have, well, it's not a big deal. I should have obviously played the Ancient Den so I could replay this Cryogen. It is a bit of a big deal. Now we're at 9 cards. That was silly. I was thinking about shriveling these away anyway, though. Seeing as we're gonna have to discard a card now, it might be decent to just do that. Let's just go for it. It's not like the most insane thing ever. It's kind of a 1-for-1 since they still keep halves of these, and they do find their swamp. But it's decent now against like Stamina. They can't stamina anything back. Mesmeric Fiend with no sack means we can just cast it down, or they take cast down. That's fine too. I mean, if they don't take cast down and I want to cast it down, then they've made me use a removal spell. I'm gonna try not to say cast down anymore. A removal spell on their Fiend as opposed to one of their growers. So Thraben Charm kind of helps with that. Helps me not feel bad about it. I think I'll just Thraben Charm this, and they know that we drew this, but that's fine. I'd much rather keep the cast down for later, and I'd like to play this Cryogen this turn. I'm not going to attack because 2 for 2 doesn't sound very good against an aggro deck. They do know everything we have in hand except for this Thoughtcast, so they'll be playing around the cast down as much as they can. Infestation Sage unearthed, and a Shambler, and another Shambler. Now I would love another Shrivel. I'll tell you that for free, especially because the Shamblers would not produce creatures. Let's just play another Glint Hawk. I'm doing the Glint Hawk over the Skyfisher here because if I get a Suffocating Fumes, I can cast it. Let's just replay the Relic. If I hit an untapped land... Ooh, Macabre is decent if they get like a Stamina or something. Otherwise, it's kind of whatever. I can't play an Enforcer because we only have 5 artifacts. Pachuca Bog. All right, they only have 2 cards left in hand, though. And we have a cast down, so they need like a couple good growers. I mean, if they had like Feeder, Beetle, this would be a really good spot. Infestation Sage, they're getting a little bit too much fodder, though. They're going to attack with everything. I'll go for the block. Well, let's just play it smart. I could go for these, and then I have the Macabre, but let's just block the ones we should block, which is the Insects. We'll take 3 damage and eat 2 of their guys. That's a great trade for us. Mirror Enforcer, so let's just play Cryogen and play a bunch of Enforcers for 1 mana and then 0 mana. And then 0 mana. And now I can attack for 4. And I don't think... One way that I could lose is by tapping out and they get the Bloodthorn Vampire Rite of Consumption. So I'm just going to leave up the cast down, even though I probably could play a Skyfisher there. But they concede and were able to take the match. So we did go 5-2, and 4 5-2s made it into the top 8. Unfortunately, we were not quite there. We got 11th place. Still not a bad record at all, but a little unfortunate. I do think the deck felt really good, and I'm pretty happy with the changes that we've made. Metallic Rebuke, I think, is feeling really clean in the deck. Really good against a lot of matches. Compass is definitely weird because a lot of matches it feels like it's just not providing enough value. Obviously, if we go up against Burn, it's nice to have, but I'm still not 100% sold on it. Nile Spellbomb did feel decent, but to be honest, I realize I may be a little overkilling the Graveyard Hate with Pachuca Bog, Spellbomb, 2 Thraben Charms, and another Spellbomb and Fairy Macabres in the sideboard. I think my sideboard can definitely use a little bit of work. I don't know if these Macabres are necessary, although obviously every time I go up against Spy, I would love to have 15 Fairy Macabres if possible. Also, the Pachuca Bog did come up and was pretty relevant several times, both in that the Exiling Graveyard was pretty decent, but also in that it being a tap land was pretty rough. However, it having both it and Swamp did come up because also we did get Wildfired once, and having the Swamp to find was pretty relevant. I don't know if that necessarily means you definitely need to play both, but it's just nice to know that they both were not wasted picks, at least in some matches. I'm still fine-tuning the list, but I think I'm getting very close. Ideally, within another video or 2 of showing off the deck, I'll have a stock list that I'm happy with that I will present. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you to my supporters, including my $10 supporters: Howard Granger, Lars, JMW, Rafa Rodriguez, JD NPX, Jason Golubiewski, Halkaz, Cody Cowell, Ill Intent, and Lou Hauser. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you all next time.